Health and Wellness. I'm Lacey Klontz, and with me is Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great. How are you?
Doing well. So, what have you been seeing the most of this week? Well, really in the last couple of weeks.
Well, really, unfortunately, what we've been seeing more than anything lately is cancer.
Over and over.
I mean, multiple people coming to us who are being diagnosed, just freshly diagnosed with cancer. And actually, we love to hear from them at that stage, because when we hear from them at basically the stage where they're diagnosed as having cancer, whether it be operable, inoperable, whatever stage it might be, when we hear that, it always gives us time between now and when they start having whatever course of therapy that they've been recommended by Rockefeller Medicine. So, whether they're doing chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, whatever their options are in allopathic medicine, it gives us time to work before then. And what we love, we recently had, she's sort of a rock star, actually, I think technically a rock star, but she's a local musician, a regional performer who came to us after being diagnosed with cervical cancer. And she got the diagnosis, and then she immediately called us. It was pretty wild. I was blown away. She said that God told her to. And so we met with her and we put her on a regimen. So she was diagnosed with a 7-centimeter mass in her cervix, inoperable. They were going to do chemotherapy and radiation, heavy doses. And so she started on some B17. She started on reishi mushroom. She eliminated all sugar from her diet. She began taking the Doctor's Immune Forte. What else did she take?
The Firesider.
Firesider.
The parasite cleanses.
Right. 2 different parasite cleanses. So she started on this. So she went to be checked again to be slated for surgery. And when they scanned her again after 11 days of starting the regimen, her 7-centimeter mass went down to 4 centimeters and is now operable. So now she can have surgery on the 20th. And we're so excited. Actually, what we're excited about is them going in and saying, oh, there's nothing to get.
There's nothing.
But we're working on that. But it's absolutely, those types of stories that we see so often are amazing, and they just ignite a fire within us.
It's a huge testimony.
Yeah, and she went very public with it also.
Oh, really?
Very public, tagged us, and so now we've been getting people from Nashville and Chattanooga and Atlanta, people who are performers and whatnot, who are reaching out to us about their cancer. And there's so many people being recently diagnosed with cancer. It's a little creepy, actually.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so it's a problem, and it's something that we keep seeing. Also, thyroid disease. We're having more and more people who are diagnosed with thyroid disease. Tell them about someone that came in the other day.
Well, this lady walks in, and super sweet lady. She comes in and she's like, listen, I just need some help. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm so tired all the time. I have to take a nap in the middle of the day all the time, every day. If I don't take a nap, I'm grumpy. And then every now and then, I'll have a swelling come out of my throat that's in the shape of a butterfly.
She thought it was just crazy. She's like this
She
butterfly
said it comes and
That's a
goes.
thyroid issue.
And that's called a goiter, and it's very common, especially in our region. And I say our region, and you're pretty far. You drive a good bit to get here.
A little bit, yeah.
But even hours away in a perimeter in our area, we are just saturated with PFAs, which they're saying the PFAs are the primary cause of a lot of the thyroid disease that we're having. And we looked at a map earlier. We were having a conversation before the show, and the map.
Fascinating.
What are PFAs again?
Plastics. Yeah.
This right here.
That's the plastics, which is kind of funny. Before the show, we were talking. She said, "What do you think about this water?" And I said, "Well, not a lot, but maybe it's okay." So we began talking about, well, why don't we test this water? So common tap water is between like about 30 to even up
Depends
to
on the
100.
area.
Now in Oxford, the water has about 105 to 150 parts per million of particulates, that's a bad thing. You want the number as low as possible. If you use the zero water filter that we've talked about over and over, it brings the number down to 0. So we were curious about, I ran out to our van and grabbed our handy dandy water tester. And so here's our handy dandy water tester that they give.
Goodness, I'm having test anxiety.
With the zero water. Okay, got a convenient, got a patriotic mug that we got here at the station, America. And I guess you don't mind me wasting more of your water?
You go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. And we still have some in there. We'll just get more. So here's where we are with this. We're at 0. You probably can't see that, but it's 0. 0 is what we want. Remember though, if you go in a tap in Oxford or Addiston, the number is going to be between about 100 and 150.
And what does that number mean?
That number is representing the heavy metals, plastics, and also trace minerals and minerals that are in the water.
Things from your pipes and then other
Right.
stuff too.
So we're at 0. So now let's see what this is.
So far, I have an A.
Well, I hope if this were a number that was a test, actually you would have failed really bad.
Man.
17. Let me see if I can get it set. Hold.
17. You have to, yeah.
There we go. So 17 is what this water is. That's actually very good, especially for a plastic water bottle.
I mean, it should technically be 0 because it's purified and nothing
Correct.
should be added to that. But you know, we've seen it way worse.
Well, of course, one of the problems and there's probably somebody watching it or that will be watching that'll be like, wait a minute. So here's the problem though. This was purified water when it went into this plastic bottle. There were no minerals, no trace minerals, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So these 17 parts per million that are in here are certainly plastics.
PFAs.
That's all they
All
can
right.
be. So you're drinking 17 parts per million of plastics in that bottle. Now, it could be a lot worse.
It's really gross, though.
It kind of is. And when you think about how PFAs lead to thyroid disease, how easily it can cause thyroid, and how thyroid disease leads to huge issues with your mobility, with your energy level, with your metabolism, with your heart rate, heart function. Your thyroid is a small gland, but it's also very sensitive because it's small. And it's one of the first glands to be impacted. Like when people in Fruithurst and Muscadine were dealing with all the PFAs in their water, all the chemicals in their water. Of course, the truth was never really fully revealed about all that. But people were developing cancer, reproductive problems, having issues with their children. And so the issue with those PFAs is that they were coming in from a Tyson chicken plant. And these were people using well water, so they're not using city water. They thought they were healthy because they were using well water in the country. But just because you're using well water does not mean the water's safe or high quality. So you need to have it tested. And
Test your water.
I think Jacksonville State University will test it for you if you call the biology department or whatever. Just to, get it checked. It's very important. Of course, I think the health department in Calhoun County could probably, or whatever it is over there, Cleveland County can probably help you too.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, so everyone, letting you all know, we are on Facebook Live right now, and if you have a question for Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John, please comment and we will ask him. And it looks like we do have a question right now. It went away. Let's see. Would you recommend, I have to pick this up. Would you recommend ivermectin as a cancer prevention thing? I am hearing it helps. Ooh, good question. Thank you,
That
Ms.
is-
Lucy.
That's so good. Okay.
That is a good question.
Okay. During COVID, we heard the name ivermectin so many times, I would
did.
like to have hit my head on the wall. Ivermectin is a probiotic, and it's an antiparasitic. It's derived from dirt. A Japanese research scientist
Really?
discovered it. Yeah, a Japanese research scientist discovered this dirt probiotic and found out that it is great for parasites. So it's been being used as a wormer for animals, for even for people, for worms. When COVID came out, there was some information that came out that ivermectin could be effective for COVID.
I do remember that very well.
It's pretty wild because we're part of the Concerned Doctors group and worked with them a lot during COVID, and we were featured on their webinar with our P77 and talking about Artemisia and all this. Well, when we started comparing Artemisia to ivermectin, it was a lot safer and had a whole lot more clinical data. And then the entire country of Madagascar, as we talked about, the president went on television and basically said, "Hey guys, this is what we're using for our COVID. We're not taking vaccines." So that was a strong stance.
It was.
So we leaned heavily toward Artemisia and incorporated that into our P77 formula. When we did that, it became extremely effective. So we distanced ourselves from ivermectin, Not that ivermectin doesn't work, but because ivermectin can have a lot of side effects and can be dangerous when combined with other medications. And so knowing that it's just a dirt probiotic and knowing that it's more or less natural, even though it's a synthetic drug now, we just felt a lot better with using the P77, and we had a lot better results. And during COVID, when Omicron came in, the one that was more respiratory, upper respiratory.
It was basically a cold.
Right. It basically was almost, you couldn't touch it with ivermectin, yet at the same time P77 was knocking it out. So all the ivermectin doctors, which weren't a lot of them, but a few of them in the concerned doctors group, were going behind the scenes to us to get for their families P77 and for themselves to take P77. So that opened our eyes a lot to it.
Wow.
But for cancer.
But as far as for cancer, well, that gets back, we're talking about parasites. Of course, we believe that parasites are one of the primary causes of cancer. That's a controversial statement, and Hulda Clark wrote about it in the book, The Cure for All Disease, The Cure for All Cancer. But at the same time, we see it. Now think about this. Cancer has existed since mankind has existed, right? We want to blame cancer on, Monsanto. We want to blame cancer on these companies and the horrible foods and the preservatives and the chemicals and all this stuff. Well, that's true. Those are carcinogenic, and those are many of the reasons why a lot of people are getting cancer today. But yet, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, they can take the mummies that are in Egypt, and they actually have found parasites, active parasites. T. gondii persist in the brain still. So you actually have this history of parasitic infestation that dates back to the beginning of mankind.
That is wild.
So a lot of people believe that parasites have a massive, and we know now clinically that there are several cancers that they conclusively say. For example, a lot of people don't understand that prostate cancer can be caused by Toxoplasma gondii, by T. gondii parasites. We can give people that data. It's amazing. Well, it's just abnormal tissue growth, and that's one of the things. That's when cancer begins. It begins normally with abnormal tissue growth. Well, what do parasites cause? In many cases, they cause abnormal tissue growth. So when you get a parasitic infestation and especially when you go to the doctor, and the last thing they'll even do is test you for parasites. We had someone tell us the other day, a medical doctor, that pinworms aren't in existence anymore, that people don't get pinworms anymore. And
Is that a
1/3
lie?
of every child born has pinworms.
Really?
Yeah. So it's at some stage in their life.
What's a pinworm exactly? Do we want to know? Do we want to know?
Well, a pinworm is in the classification of which type of parasite?
It's a helminth,
a
which
helminth.
is a visible worm that lives in your body.
Right.
Oh, I should not have asked.
And then it gets worse from there. You want to keep going?
Oh, sure. Why not?
But they primarily
Primarily
reside
children.
in the colon, especially the end of the colon.
Okay.
And it's very easy upon scratching or various types of contact with children. Let's just say if you see a kid who scratches themselves a lot, don't shake their hand.
Dirty fingernails in the mouth.
Oh gosh, you said that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's pinworms.
Wow. The more you know,
Ready for a
everyone. Oh, I think we are ready for
All
a
right, let's
commercial. We're
go.
going to have more questions from you all when we come back. Stay tuned.
That's awesome.
May not believe it, but it's true. The 2024 Team 1 Chevys are here. All 2324 Silverado light duties have 2.9% financing for 72 months. The hottest new 24 Team 1 Chevy Blazer, 1.9% financing and no payments till April. And the #1 selling family vehicle, the Equinox. 24 models, you got it. 1.9% financing and no payments till April. Team 1 Chevrolet, home of the best people, the best service, period.
At Family Prosthetic and Medical Supply, we care about you. We offer custom prosthetics, orthotics, diabetic shoes, and durable medical supplies. We're located here in Alexandria, Alabama, where it's a country feel but professional care. Come see us today.
All right. A little more about academics. Parents, do you want to secure a bright future for young people? We have science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Get your kids involved with Academic STEM Kits. Go to www.academics.com to order your STEM kits. It's going to be STEM-tastic.
Like science is for you.
And we are back with Truth, Health, and Wellness with Dr. Matt and Deborah St. John. So what were we talking about during the break?
We don't. Well, during the break, we finally broke the ice and got onto another subject a little bit. There was a
Oh, my
question that
goodness.
came in.
Yes,
Yeah.
Miss Lucy, she asked another question. Let's see. She said, is it true that you must take zinc a different time of day from when you take magnesium? I have heard that it can affect the magnesium's ability to be taken into the body effectively, but not of taken hours apart.
Yeah, with your minerals, they're normally best taken at night. I would probably take maybe my magnesium before dinner, and then take my zinc after dinner. That would be enough.
Why is that?
Well, just to keep them from being absorbed, trying to block out each other at the same time.
Okay.
The zinc too, I'm a little bit cautious about zinc. During COVID-19, we had a lot of people taking zinc and a lot of zinc. And the normal dosage of zinc for people, for women, is like 20 milligrams, maybe 30. For men, it's maybe 30 milligrams, maybe 50. And that's definitely enough. And I actually kind of recommend to most people that when they're taking a mineral, skip the weekends. Minerals accumulate, just like heavy metals and everything else. So you don't necessarily need them every day. So, but during COVID, so many people started taking really high doses of zinc unmanaged. They were like, well, if 10 milligrams or 30 milligrams is good, I may as well take 600 milligrams.
And that's not good.
That's not
I'm
good.
sure.
Don't do that.
Can your
So-
body not digest it well? Or
Well,
or
what
sensitive?
happens is zinc, you can actually get zinc deposits in the brain, and it can cause signs of dementia and Alzheimer's. It becomes a heavy metal at a certain point.
Really?
So we recommended that people start backing off the zinc as much as they could in those any type of mega dose like that, and just stay on a 30 to 50 milligram dose, during the week, and maybe skip the weekends. And when people started doing that, it was great. So zinc is necessary. It's very important. It's important for immunity. It's important for a lot of body functions. But magnesium is the mineral that we're extremely deficient in today. I mean, that's the one that almost every human alive is deficient in. People take magnesium and they're like, it cured my colon problems. It cured my, my anxiety. It helped me with this, and it didn't do
Sleep.
that. Yeah, it helped me sleep.
I hear that one.
And the whole thing is, all that you're doing when you're taking magnesium, it's not that it's curing anything. It's just it's making up for a deficiency. You're having sleep problems because of a magnesium deficiency. You're having, problems with your restless leg because of issues with a deficiency of magnesium. You're having these problems because you weren't getting magnesium, and now that you add it to it, it's like it fixes it. But it's really just a supplement. So, but magnesium is very deficient in the majority of humanity, and something that I personally have to take a lot of.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, I probably should because of all my sleeping issues.
Yep.
Justin said this show is the new Discovery Channel.
Justin.
Good one, Justin.
Actually, the Discovery Channel, it's so strange, like the History Channel.
Yeah.
I turn on the History Channel and you look at the guide on whatever, and it's literally ancient aliens, ancient aliens, ancient aliens, ancient aliens. So seriously, that's not even history. That didn't really happen.
That's right now. That's what everybody's talking about now. That's the present.
Those are drug addicts today trying to convince you that there's no God because aliens created us. My gosh, the History Channel. So I hope we are better than Discovery, because I think Discovery just shows like chopper shows or motorcycle shows. I mean, I don't know what they do anymore.
TV24 is way better than Discovery.
But thanks for that comment.
Yes,
'cause
that was
we'll keep it up.
awesome.
Hey, ask us weird questions. I promise we'll give you weird answers.
We will. So I can't believe I have not asked this question yet. Lucy says, other than biotin, what do you recommend for hair loss? And she's saying as a result of menopause. And I'm going to add on to that and say as a result of long COVID.
Or as a result of thyroid problems. How about that?
Probably that too.
Because we have so many people. I probably in the past 2 days have heard at least 5 people say that they had brittle hair, problems with hair growth, and or problems with thyroid. And it's all kind of interwoven. Well, I mean, there's biotin, there's silica, we can get silica from an herb called horsetail. Horsetail, you'll see horsetail, And a lot of times you'll see,
It's a funny name.
it is kind of funny, and then you'll see it like on shampoos, and you'll see it in supplements, and it'll say horsetail, and you think to yourself, "Oh, poor horse," but it didn't really hurt the horse, and it's not really from a horse, but it just looks like horsetail, before they obviously encapsulate it. But horsetail is has a high concentration of silica and other trace minerals, and so taking the horsetail can give you those minerals, but also a full spectrum of vitamins too. But a lot of we have a hair, skin, and nail formula that's very good, but also a thyroid support formula with iodine would be a good idea for a lot of people. And
Why iodine?
Iodine is a deficiency in iodine is what causes a lot of people to have thyroid problems. Out west, the reason we have iodized salt is because they had so many thyroid problems out west.
Well, it's trendy right now to use pink salt,
Himalayan.
or to
Himalayan,
use
yeah.
or
It's
to
prettier,
use
too.
sea salt, or to use whatever Celtic salt. All these salts don't have that added iodine in it.
Right.
Very
Right.
interesting.
And so they added iodine to the salt to be able to help basically with thyroid insufficiency. But we also have glandular thyroid extracts that can help, like Armor Thyroid. It's virtually the same because it has active T3 and active T4, and so people can, that are like taking levothyroxine, they can oftentimes get on the glandular and take it and all of a sudden their hair starts growing better and they start having a lot better results. Also collagen. I wanted to mention that before we forgot.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, collagen is good. Just make sure you get a really high quality collagen product that you trust, because collagen can also contain a lot of pesticides. Pesticides, especially in cattle, will deposit, especially in the fatty tissue and in the sinew and sort of the bones and the joints, and so a lot of the collagen can be derived from those areas of the cattle. So it's a good idea to make sure that you obviously have a company that you trust when it comes to collagen.
Right, and I'm going to kind of piggyback off of that a little bit. So I have issues with my hair. I always have. Growing it, this is not mine. Well, I recently started using a product, like hair products, that are from another, like they're Australian or something, and there's a lot of really good ingredients in it, vegan stuff. And for the first time, really in years, I'm seeing my hair starting to grow, my natural hair. And it's just kind of fascinating to me, like, okay, over there, they may not have ingredients in their stuff that we have in our stuff here.
Exactly.
So that's
a lot cleaner products.
Exactly.
And I'm 48 years old, and so I have, this deal. And so I used to say all the time, I was born redheaded, so I was like, and with two cowlicks. So I was redheaded and had two cowlicks. So, I'm like, I'm some issues. And so I always said,
that.
if my hair ever started falling out, I'm like, I'll just go, I'll grow a chia pet up here. I'll just go to the doctor and I'll just have them do implants. Well, after you actually see what implants are, and there's no way. There's just no way. I'd rather shave my head bald and grow a long beard
Really?
and have that look. Oh, it's terrible.
It's awful.
Oh, you look like you've actually been attacked by 1,000 needles. All over your head.
It's bad.
It
It's
takes forever to
bad.
heal. I'm like, where am I going to go for like 3 weeks while I recover from this? And,
wear a hat.
be here on the television station and be like, hey, Matt St. John's baseball cap. So I don't know. So long story short, I became pretty diligent about maybe 2 years ago about, hey, this hair loss thing, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to fight the good fight. Yeah. And so it's really cool too, because we found dragon's blood. We found dragon's blood. We actually have dragon's blood growing on our land in Peru. And what it is, it's a tree. It's called, it's called dragon's blood.
Okay.
And you can take a machete. You just take your machete. Here's my mini machete. I keep it on me. You take your machete and whack. You whack the tree, and all of a sudden it starts bleeding.
Red.
Crimson red, and it's like sap. But it's amazing because dragon's blood has been shown in almost every single study or report that they do that it actually helps to regrow hair. So what I do is I've made my own shampoo. Now, how the shower looks after I get through shampooing my hair is a different story. It's because you got dragon's blood I'm throwing on my head, and rosemary oil. Rosemary oil, you can actually massage rosemary oil. One of the best ways to do it is take a brush that you really don't care anything about and drop several drops of rosemary on it and brush it through your hair about twice a day, especially before you go to bed. But if you do it right before you go to bed, be careful, because rosemary is also kind of a brain stimulant. So you'll actually lay down and be like, why can't I quit thinking? It's because you have rosemary. So you might want to wait about maybe 30 minutes before you go to bed. Rub the rosemary oil in, dragon's blood. We're actually working right now on a dragon's blood type formula, a hair formula, that we're super excited about. But it's pretty crazy how well it works.
I will be the guinea pig on that if you would like.
I have more hair today than I did 3 months ago.
No way.
Yeah, it's weird. It'll happen in stages, because what happens sometimes, I get a little lazy, or I won't do the, I won't do my rosemary, I won't do it, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, St. John, better start over again.
Well, it's hard to get into the routine of things. I mean, it's easy to get out of a
It really
routine.
is.
It's true.
Yeah.
Very
Let's
true.
see here. A few more. Do you have any events at your store where you give talks and answer questions about holistic health?
Well, that's a really good question, person who asks good questions. We were talking about that.
I would love to do that. That lady with the butterfly on her throat.
Yeah.
She came in and she said, I homeschool my kids, and she was asking about fire cider, which we talk about all the time on here. She was asking about what all was in it and how you actually make it and all. And she said, I would love to bring my kids up here and us have a homeschool day where you teach us how to make fire cider.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. I would love to do
So
that.
here's
really
the deal.
cool.
We do
Yeah.
conferences. We just finished 2 weekends ago at the Deep South Herb Conference in Mentone, Alabama, and there are normally 2 of those that we have a year. We had actually canceled the fall one because we have everybody has a lot going on. Well, then it got uncanceled because of demand. So now we're having another one in the fall up in Mentone, Alabama. It's called the Deep South Herb Conference. We're going to start putting more on our page too. We also we do conferences up in Michigan, Indiana, Tennessee. So we're on the road a lot on the weekends doing those conferences, and we teach medical doctors. I love some of the people that come to our conferences, because I mean, to see a medical doctor sitting there, learning about parasites,
Exactly.
humbling themselves. Really, I mean, to be able to even sit there and listen to some naturopathic
natural
doctor.
way.
Because most doctors don't know what to do with natural medicine at all. You have to take it upon yourself to learn it, and they don't have time.
Our doctors do. Yeah.
Right. They come out and do
What up,
it. It's
John?
awesome.
And we have some incredible folks, but it's really neat though, because we've been talking about maybe working with the over here at the Civic Center, working with Oxford, doing something with a regional event where people can come and actually go to seminars, multiple seminars. I'm really good friends with Daryl Patton, and Daryl, I'll put you on the spot right here on TV and say that he wouldn't mind at all to do it with us. And so we have literally the nation's top herbalist who would be, in the entire country, who would be there at the event along with others. And we could do herb walks and different things outside of the venue, and it'd be really cool. So
Maybe we could do it here on this show and have a live studio audience.
that would be cool.
Ooh.
Well, we definitely have TV24 part of it.
I think
For
that would
sure.
be fun.
I think we have a plan forming here, person who asked the question. Thanks.
Thanks, Lucy.
Oh, it's Lucy too. Lucy's full of good questions.
great.
Lucy's awesome.
Lucy
Come
rocks.
see us. at
Lucy
St. John's.
is
Yeah, come on, Lucy.
great. Lucy asked even more. Let's see, we've got a few minutes left. I'm just going to read hers real quick.
yeah.
Is C iodine sufficient as a supplement? How do you know the collagen you get is high quality? Justin says, what's a good vitamin to take for a guy mid-40s? Sometimes I myself end up taking a 2-hour nap after work. Can blood pressure have anything to do with that too?
Yeah, high blood pressure can definitely cause that. Low blood pressure can cause that too.
Definitely low.
Glucose levels.
Glucose is mostly hypoglycemia is what I see people dealing with now. People are getting up and there's all this intermittent fasting, and everybody's like, hey, it's great just to not eat. No, it's not great to not eat. It
We're
causes
supposed
you.
to eat.
Yeah, you're supposed to eat. You'll become a hypoglycemic and eventually a type 2 diabetic. So people need to eat. And if people will eat the right amount of protein for breakfast, and they'll have a snack mid-morning, and they'll have a decent lunch, and they'll have a snack mid-afternoon, and they'll have a meat and 3 at night, they'll be fine. That's all they need to do.
Little bits throughout the day.
A little bit throughout the day. And it's clinically shown that your metabolism, your energy level, your immune system, and your entire body works better when you're eating on a regular basis.
If you're getting hungry, you're waiting too long to eat.
That's right. You've already, by the time you feel
You're
hungry,
late.
you're late. When you feel the hunger pain, that's your body feeding on your muscle. That's called catabolism. And so what happens is, if you want to be lean and muscular and not have fat, you don't need your body hanging on to every ounce of fat that it has and trying to feed off of muscle for energy. You need to make sure that your body is burning fat, and the way to do that is to provide it as few sugar calories as possible. Make sure that your protein's there for your recovery. Get your healthy fats that you need in the day, which is not a hard thing to do, and keep your carbohydrates down to a normal level. It's the sugars and the carbs that are causing people to be lethargic and
What's a normal level of that, of carbs a day?
having no more carbs per day than you have protein. Imagine that.
A balanced diet.
Right, but it's easy to say, but 30 grams of chicken, you're sitting there gnawing for 15 minutes. 30 grams of carbs, you just shove it in. So it's easier to eat carbs.
Definitely.
It is easier to eat carbs. And real quick, what was the supplement you talked about last time, where if you can't eat a whole lot when you first get up, then this will help you not be sick if you have to eat as soon as you get up?
Oh, we're talking about having the fire cider. Absolutely.
Oh, the fire cider.
To settle your stomach
That's
and
what it
to sort
is.
of get everything going.
Get
Yeah.
some fire cider. That's all the time we have. We'll
Fire
be back
cider.
next week.